We help you make better decisions and live with fewer regrets. I'm Andy Stanley, and I'll be your guide. And today we're talking about the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, our narratives. Remember your high school narrative? My parents are such idiots. School's such a waste of time. And then you grew up and you realize my parents aren't idiots, and school was definitely not a waste of time. But as adults, we tell ourselves similar things. They don't care, it doesn't matter, it won't make any difference. Or how about this one? I don't do exercise, right? The problem with these narratives is that they become excuses and they set us up to become our own worst enemies. So let's stop with all the false narratives, and today I'll tell you how right here on Your Move. Isn't it strange? I don't know if you ever think about this, but because I have to talk all the time, I have to think of things people aren't thinking about so I can make you think about it. So I'll have something to talk about. That's kind of my life, basically. But isn't it strange how we talk to ourselves? Because we all do this, right? We have conversations with ourselves. It's like there's two of us in there, sometimes three. If you have four, I don't really want to meet you. But anyway, these conversations that we have with ourselves, eventually we get down to this really, really big question that we all wrestle with. And this question is why? And here's what we do. Something happens and we think, why did that happen? Then we go to work trying to figure out why it happened. And why did this happen? Why did that happen? Why did this happen rather than that? And this is what I thought would happen, but this happened. And you can't help it. This is so human nature. We have this extraordinary habit, this inclination to impose a reason on randomness. We impose a reason on it. Something happens that doesn't make sense, and our minds just go to work trying to make sense out of randomness. And what we do is we create a narrative. We create our own narrative to make sense of things, right? We create a narrative to make sense of things. In fact, the worse the incident and the more personal the incident, the harder you work and the harder I work to make sense out of that. Because what's undeniable, regardless of your worldview, what's undeniable is that we create and often abide by our self-imposed narratives, whether they are accurate or not, whether they reflect reality or not. And this can be a problem. This can be a problem. In fact, this can lead you, as you have already experienced in your life. This isn't going to be new. I'm just going to put words around something you've already experienced. This can lead you to become your own worst enemy. So today we are in part 2 of our series. If you were here last time, you already know this, how not to be your own worst enemy. Now,
and good evening, and welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. I am Shanrae, and tonight we are on week 4. Can you believe it? This time has gone by so quickly. We are on week 4 of this month's topic, which is bad habits. Tonight, our subtopic is bad habits are easy and good habits are hard. So this is a 30-minute platform. I want to say good evening to everyone that's on tonight. Good evening, Kim. How you doing? I'm looking at multiple. I have my YouTube on, my Twitter, my Facebook. So please forgive me. I'm going to try my best not to overlook you. This is a open forum. So if you have any questions, I will pause and I will answer your questions. If you have any life scenarios that you don't mind sharing, then I will pause and I will even bring highlight to whatever you want to share on tonight. Good evening, Dee Dee, and happy birthday! It's my big sister. Happy birthday, Dee Dee! Yay! Okay, so then we're talking about bad habits. let me move this along because this is a 30-minute platform. All right, so I'm a degree counselor, and I acquired my degrees from Ashford University. My bio, it talks about how I'm a lifestyle strategist and how my aim is to aid you in your overall behavioral wellness and emotional and clinical wellness. All right, so let's move this along, and I'm going to open this up a little bit and then close it back. I always start out with my website disclaimer. So please be aware that due to the nature of the technology that I'm using, there can be no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. It should also be noted that due to changes in policies, that all replies are to be used as advisory and informational only. And will not constitute an official determination. Information provided by myself or anyone else of the counselors or a pastor or someone, they're subject to the limitations of the current and available material. But the final responsibility does rely with you, the individual, to successfully achieve the goal. All right, information online is designed to be helpful. However, this information does change frequently, and it is recommended that you, the individual, will consult another physician, another specialist, or religious leader that's closer to you to aid you in your overall behavioral wellness. All right, so let's move this along. Again, this month I've been talking about bad habits. I'm a Christian counselor, so the scripture for this month, let me open it and I'm gonna close it back a little bit. Philippians is very familiar. Philippians 4:13, the New King James Version, it says that I can do all things. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I stand on that firmly. I can do all things. Okay, so what we're talking about, let me open this and close it. Why are bad habits easy? And then why are good habits so hard? Okay, and so, and this is just, listen, everybody has a bad habit. This is not just picking on this. Everybody has a bad habit. Okay. But when these bad habits start to affect your life, affect your social life, start to affect your family life and different things like that, then I'm a firm believer we can overcome anything. We can overcome any situation. It may take a little bit longer for some things than others, but we are overcomers, and I stand on it. I'm an optimist. I see the glass halfway full rather than halfway empty. I stand on I can do all things. Okay. All right. So let's move this along. Let's talk about our key points. I'm going to open it a little bit and then close it on back. All right, so our key points for tonight. Number one, again, this is an open forum, so feel free to comment if you want to comment or ask questions. Number one, the first key point is, why are bad habits easy and why are good habits so hard? Number two is a summary of bad habits. Number three is an example of good and bad behaviors. Number four is the 7 deadly sins. Number 5 is rapid reinforcement. Number 6 is using the immediate reinforcement principles to create healthy habits. Number 7 is introducing our own immediate reinforcers into our behavior patterns. And number 8 is our takeaway. So let's move this on. Okay. And I'm going to open this up a little. We have our definitions, of course, and I want to go over them very quickly. That's what I do. So the definition of habit, the one that I chose, is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. Okay, and number 2, reinforced. That I'm going to give you the transitive verb of that. And it says that if something reinforces a feeling, a situation, or a process, it makes it stronger or more intense. So again, if something is reinforcing a feeling, a situation, or a process, it makes that whatever you want to do, it makes it stronger and more intense. That's what reinforced means. Okay, so let's move on to the question of the evening, and let me open this up. Why are bad habits easy and why are good habits hard? Okay, so here it's talking about understanding a principle about habit formation, and that it can make all the difference when you understand the principle of habit formation. All right, this teaching is by PhD Dr. Thomas Rutledge. Dr. Thomas Rutt with a T, Ledge. Okay, let me look and see if anyone is asking, excuse me, any questions. All right, so let's move this along. This is the summary of it. Let's open it so you can get a little glimpse. So the summary says that many people mistakenly attribute their bad habits to character flaws, such as laziness or lack of self-discipline. But the real reason that bad habits do thrive is because that the bad habits produce immediate reinforcements or immediate satisfaction. So most good habits, they don't provide immediate satisfaction or reinforcements. However, people can learn to create their own sources of reinforcement or their own sources of satisfaction. So, for example, if you ever needed proof that God has a sense of humor, you need only to look at how we're wired from our own habits. Okay, humans are astonishing. We are astonishing people, and our abilities to habitualize almost any behavior. We can habitualize any behavior. With sufficient practice, we can also learn to perform a lot of tasks which are mind-boggling complexities with little or no conscious effort, like driving. Driving is not easy, guys. But once you get it, we got it. Dancing is not easy. It requires flexibility and coordination and different and a lot of different things. So it's not easy. But once we got it, we got it. Like I love line dancing. It's hard to get it initially, but when you got it, you got it. All right. Playing musical instruments, that's not easy. Being coordinated, you got to think and all of this together. And then speaking multiple languages. Okay, among many other things, habitualization, all of this, it's mind-boggling how we can pick up on things. So with our large brains and near limitless brain habit formation capacities, we possess the ability to master almost any craft and then succeed at it virtually at any endeavor. I'm going to pause here because we have Chef Desi on tonight. Chef Desi, she is gifted naturally with her hands. I could talk about it because that's my big sis. Chef Desi is gifted naturally. So she can look with her hands, with doing things with her hands. So she's naturally a hairstylist. She's naturally also a culinary. She's a chef. So even before she went to school to get her degree in what she did in hair and cooking, she can look at something and pick it up like that. She can taste something and pick it up like that and make it better than the recipe that she tasted. So the brain is awesome. The brain is amazing. And this is what this is talking about. So with our large brains and near limitless habit formation capacities, we possess the abilities to master almost any craft. All right. So yet instead of elevating us to lives of superhuman quality, though, habits keep most people struggling just to get by. So the question is why? Why? And it says here, Dr. Rutledge says, because the habits that come most naturally to us tend to be bad for our long-term health and happiness. So although we can turn almost any behavior into a habit, all behaviors do not become habits equally. Because of the underlying biology of habits, habit formation, some behaviors are converted into habits quickly and easily, whereas other behaviors become habits only with substantial time and repetition, such as learning a new language. It is very difficult to learn a new language, but the more you practice it, the better you'll get. Okay. So anytime that we read information about how long it takes to form habits, and again, that was in my earlier sessions where I talked about they said anywhere it's 14 days on, depending on the habit. It's just like that where you can pick up on something. So again, anytime that we it says to form habits, take the response with a grain of salt. Remind yourself that it may depend on the habit. Again, it does depend on the habit that you're picking up. So let's talk about examples of good and bad behavior right now. And let's move this along. Let me open this up. Examples of good and bad behavior. And I'm going to be trying to move this along as I talk. So for example, a child can master the habit of avoiding hot stoves after a single painful experience, but may require months of parental assistance to brush their teeth or to take their vitamins. Okay. So adults show these same disparities now. Adults show the exact same disparities. Let me open this up because I'm trying to move this along so you can see what I'm. Okay. Here we go. So consider the ease of forming convenience with food habits versus the difficulty of forming nutritious eating habits. Okay. I think that's all of our issue. Trying to make sure that we continue to eat healthy. To make sure we continue to eat healthy. It's because we know that the fat consuming foods, they taste so good. The fried foods, the sugar foods, those, but they're not good for us. So making sure that we get our daily intake of fruits and vegetables, that seems to be an issue for most people, including myself. All right, so let's move this along. Compare the minimal effort required to fall into a bad sleep habit. That was me. Versus the challenge of creating good sleeping habits. Now I'm going to pause again. I'm going to use Chef Desi as an example a lot tonight because that's my big sister and we're close and we talk a lot. So I'm a New Yorker, the city that never sleeps. So most people are up late or all night long and they sleep in the daytime. So that's almost a normal pattern for most people and most New Yorkers. With me moving down south, it has taken me a long time to retrain myself and my sleep patterns. And one of the things that my big sister Didi said to me a couple of years back, she said, I don't care if you're not asleep. She said, start making sure that you're in the bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. She said, because when you're in the bed, at least you're in the bed. And then, when you get in the bed, your body should start winding down. So I started doing that and start making that a practice. Then to add on to that, because I would sit in the bed and be on social media or on the phone or watching television. So what I had to start doing was start cutting down on things. Not being on the phone, not being on social media, not crocheting, not doing stuff like that when I should be resting and just lay down. I put on meditation music or water, something soothing, so it'll help me go to sleep. So this is one of the things that it's talking about. All right, the ease of forming to fall bad sleep patterns rather than creating good sleeping habits. Another thing is procrastinating versus becoming proactive. Okay, most people have to learn how to not procrastinate, how to be proactive. And so that takes a little longer to train yourself. That's just not like an overnight thing to procrastinate, because that requires time management. That requires a lot of different things. Like again, with me growing up in the city, very fast life, fast living in New York. So everything was just go, and there was no preparation. When I moved down south, and my husband and I were married, and we had our small babies at the time when we moved here, I did not want to get them in trouble being late and unprepared. So thank God for shows like HGTV, Home Improvement. They used to have organizational shows, and I used to watch that, and I used to start incorporating some of these things in to help me to be more time conscious. And so as the children got older, we would make sure that they had their clothes out for the week for school, everything down to the socks and the shoes. So when they got up, that's one less thing they had to worry about, was getting their clothes out. Their hair was done at night and wrapped up. So when they got up, all they had to do was take the wrap off, and their hair was already done, and it was still nice and neat. And so they was not rushing, because God forbid if we woke up late at any time, you would be late, but not late. You see what I'm saying? Maybe 5 minutes late versus an hour and a half late. if you were running late. So this is one of the things, procrastination versus becoming proactive. Another thing is spending money versus the habit of saving and investing. Now, this again is it's half and half, because a lot of times to saving money, you have to make enough money to save money. If you're not where you want to be, working a job and making the income that you want to make, most people are living paycheck to paycheck. So it's very hard to save money when you're living paycheck to paycheck. But if you're blessed not to live paycheck to paycheck, then some people are spenders. I'm a spender, but I've also learned how to save as well. So I'm not gonna, if I spend, I'm not buying Gucci and Louis. I'm not buying those type of things. It's definitely gonna be on sale, and it's gonna be something that I need. Okay, or that I may just want, but it's on sale. And again, it's on sale, like marked way down. And I'm not taking money away from my home and any responsibilities. So, okay, spending money versus the habit of saving and investing. Each of these cases, the first habit comes swiftly and naturally to us. The second takes prolonged practice, and it is fragile, even once it is formed, which it means it's easy when you can start it, but it's easy to stop it too. So if these bad habit, good habit, inequities seem unfair, keep in mind that they are not new. Reflect, for instance, okay, on the 7 deadly sins from the Bible, and then you may also notice a pattern, the 7 deadly sins, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. All represent instinctive human behaviors that easily become enduring habits despite their vices. And each sin requires considerable learning and labor to replace with more virtuous habits. Okay, so we all have experienced the 7 deadly sins. Okay, so let's open this up and let's talk about these 7 deadly sins. Let's open this up. All right, I hope you all can see that. All right, so let's talk about number 1. The first one is lust. Okay, I think we all lust over stuff, whether we lust over foods, another person, we lust over money. Lust is lust. And lust is a strong passion or longing. But it says especially for sexual desires. Okay, so that's number 1. That's the first 7 deadly sin. Number 2 is gluttony. Gluttony. And it says an excessive and ongoing eating of food or drink. Gluttony. So that's number 2. Number 3 is greed. Greed is an excessive pursuit of material goods. There are some people that really are greedy, Okay, so number 4 is sloth. Sloth is an excessive laziness or the failure to act and utilize one's talents. Okay, so that's number 4. That's the fourth deadly sin. Number 5 is wrath. Okay, a strong anger and hate towards another person. Wrath. Okay, and I think we've all experienced that. I know I have. All right, so number 6 is envy. The intense desire to have an item that someone else possesses. Envy, that's the 6th deadly sin. Number 7 is pride. Okay, an excessive view of oneself without regard for other people. So these are the 7 deadly sins, and the Bible talked about it, and then people talk about it when you go to counseling. That we talk about it: lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, pride. Okay, and so it's a natural thing for these things to come up in us, anything like that. But the thing is that we replace it. We replace these type of things with a virtuous type of ability. Okay, so let's move on to rapid reinforcement now, because our time is almost up. Rapid reinforcement. Let me open this up a little bit. Okay, here we go. So although some may prefer the interpretation that our affinity for bad habits is the product of a divine sense of humor, which is a God's sense of humor, neuroscience offers a more useful interpretation. Specifically, bad habits are formed easily, primarily because they are rapidly reinforced. Rapidly reinforced, which means, okay, you get satisfaction. They're rapidly satisfied. You get rapid satisfaction. Good evening, Euless. Rapid satisfaction from doing, having bad habits. Okay. Good habits, in contrast, generally are reinforced only much later on. Using the above examples, and we're going to go over these again. Let me move this along and let me open this up so you can see it. Okay. So again, this is talking about what I hit on a little bit earlier. Number one is junk food, which provides immediate gustatory pleasures and stress release. Staying up late and sleeping in offers rapid entertainment and comfort rewards. Procrastinating instantly spares us effort and risk. And spending gives us a momentary rush of positive emotions, especially if we found a good deal. All right. So in comparison, let me move this along so y'all can see this with the slides. All right. In comparison, their good habit counterparts may require days, weeks, or even longer to enjoy the benefits of good habits. Even though these benefits are usually much larger than these smaller benefits, immediate rewards or bad habits. Okay, so to the human brain, the immediacy of the reinforcer is more important than the type of magnitude of the reinforcer. All right. So we struggle to form good habits. We all do. Therefore, not because of a lack of self-discipline or education, but because we are biologically predisposed to repeat behaviors based on their immediate or physical, social, and emotional consequences, which consequences, again, are bad and good. They're good consequences, they're bad consequences, all right? So this principle is true across the animal kingdom and likely predates humans by millions of years. However, only humans have the capacity. We're the only ones that have the ability, their capacity to turn this principle to our advantage, okay? So we can stop bad habits is what Dr. Hester was saying. Dr. Rutledge was saying, excuse me. We have the capacity to change something from bad to good. All right, so let's look at how. Let me move this on. And let me open this up so y'all can see. We can do this by using the immediate reinforcement principle to create healthier habits for us. All right. So in the modern world, behaving based on immediate consequences put us on the road to mental illness. Okay. So in other words, if you cannot help yourself, if you just constantly continue to do bad habits or to behave poorly, and you do it and you can't help yourself, then that is considered a clinical issue. That's what Dr. Rutledge is saying. His research actually has found. All right. I remember a long time ago, about 10 years back, it was a series that came on HBO Stars, one of them. And it was oh my gosh, a plastic surgeon. It was two of them. One was married and one was not. And the character in Fantastic Four, the one who played the bad guy, he was one of the main characters. He was a plastic surgeon, but he had some issues. He had some integrity issues. And towards the end of the series of the show, and I forgot the name of the plastic, it was about plastic surgery. It was awesome. The show was awesome. He had to admit, he said, I just cannot help myself. He said, I just lean towards doing the wrong. Now, he was successful, a successful plastic surgeon. He was a brilliant doctor. But he always found himself in some type of mess and he had to own up to it. He said, I just automatically lean towards the wrong. It's like I can't help myself. This is what Dr. Rutledge is talking about. When it's like that, if you find yourself always, leaning towards bad, less positive behavior, then it's time to go sit and talk with someone. Go sit down with a professional who can help you learn the triggers. First of all, everything is a trigger. What triggers that, and how you can counteract those triggers. Okay. All right. So it says that in the modern world, behaving based on immediate consequences puts us on the road to mental illness, addiction, and metabolic diseases. Yet, rather than being constrained by our native habit forming tendencies, the human mind is uniquely able to create immediate positive consequences for behaviors that ordinarily take time to feel rewarding. So the typical person, for instance, may train for weeks to months to see pronounced exercise benefits. Like when you go on an exercise regimen, it's going to take a little time before you start seeing the benefits of that. So by then, most have given up due to the combination of the lack of visible progress and the immediate rewards offered by alternative behaviors, such as social events or entertainment. But without changes to the reinforcement dynamics, this is a difficult cycle to break. So, to form lasting exercise or other healthy habits, we must introduce our own immediate reinforcers into the behavior. Now, I'm going to pause again. I have a lot of different platforms, and so it's been a while since I've done my walkathon. I used to get out there and walk. COVID changed a lot of things, and then I bought a try. I don't know how to ride a bike, so I bought a 3-wheeler, an adult tricycle. I love my bike, and so I started riding my bike. But I used to walk, and I started walking. And so 3 weeks in, I didn't see any results, but I kept going. I didn't feel like going. The times that I went, I didn't feel like going, but I kept going. A month later, I still didn't see much results. I didn't see them. My body who tends to hold on to weight. I kept on going. 2 months later, people started saying, "Oh, I can see the difference. You're toning. Your body is toning. Your body's toning." I still didn't see much of a difference. Walking and stuff, but I kept going. Then I went to my doctor's, my 6-month checkup. He took his, the blood panels and everything. He was training a new nurse on his staff. So she was looking at my weight, the numbers on the scale, looking at my weight. They took my blood test, and it came back at the end of my appointment. And so he came in. He said, "Oh my God, I wish I can post this on the wall." He said, "Your numbers are better than mine, and I'm the doctor." And so the nurse looked at him. He looked at her. He said, "You're looking at the numbers that's on the scale." He said, "Don't look at those." He said, "Look at her blood work." He said, "Everything is awesome." He said, "Look at the tone. Look at the tone of her body. You can tell she walks. Her legs are toned. You can tell her body is toned. You can tell he said, "I can see this by looking at her blood work." And never asking her a question. He said, "Look at this." He started breaking it down. She drinks more than enough water. He said, "Look at this. She eats her vegetables." He said, "Look at this. She has little to no sugar intake." He started breaking it down. Now that was the reward that I needed to hear. With 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and I was like, But when I went to my doctor and he took my blood panels and he started breaking them down, he said, "Everything is awesome." And I didn't have much of a health issue before that, prior to that. But he was saying my numbers were so amazing. That was the reward. It wasn't an instant gratification, but it was a long term. And that long term, my numbers are still pretty much good, although I don't walk like I used to. But I still keep the practice of my water intake, my vegetables, try to eliminate sugar. And I'm still plus size, but I'm a healthy plus size person. Okay, so this is what Dr. Rutledge was talking about here when it comes to how the rewards may not be instant, but when you do start seeing them, they're going to be more long term. All right. So, for example, let's move on to these examples now. Let me open this up a little so y'all can see it. And I'm gonna close it back because our time, I done run over. So he says, choose a type of format of exercise. He used exercise as an example. Choose a type of exercise that we find most enjoyable. Socialize the experience, like workout partners, trainers, exercise groups, dogs. Build in competition, cooperation, novelty, or adventure. Using a physical or online workout log to help visualize your progress. Reward yourself with achieving daily milestones. Example, getting to the gym, completing your workout, making a small improvement in your performance. So the above are all examples of external reinforcers that we can combine in real time with our desired behaviors to provide sources of immediate positive feedback. Okay, so as useful as these external systems are, however, immediate internal reinforcers may be even more important for the long-term success. So internal reinforcers for behaviors such as exercise, sleep, nutrition, and finances usually come in the form of constructive self-talk and visualization. I'm going to pause here. Let's talk about the financial reinforcers. I'm not naturally a wizard when it comes to finances, but I have a cousin that's on tonight, Kim B. I'm going to sit down with her because she's a genius when it comes to finances. This is what he's talk about. So I'm going to have to sit down and form a plan with her about finances with different things and investing and investments and all of that. And she knows what I'm talking about. I don't want to go too much into it. I'm going to sit down with her so she can help show me the fundamentals of what I need to do to get to where I want to get to in the long run. Again, this is one of the things that Dr. Rutledge is talking about. And when he said also partnering with somebody, I'm going to partner with my cousin Kim here because this is her strong suit, finances. And so I look forward to that. I know that it is going to be, it's not immediate, but I know it's going to take some time, but I'm willing to do the work and I'm willing to stand in it for the long term. All right. So let's go into what Dr. Rutledge is saying. All right. So he's still talking about working out. A single workout may not produce any visible changes in your physique, for example, but this didn't stop Arnold Schwarzenegger from visualizing changes in his muscles as he was training as a source of internal reinforcement. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. The man is almost 80 years old and he still has a toned, muscular body. He didn't start out like that, but look at the results. Look at the results of sticking with it in long term. Okay, so Dr. Rutledge, he says high performers in almost every field similarly employ positive self-talk during their activities as a real-time strategy to inspire consistency. Again, what I was talking about, being consistent. Let me move this along. Being consistent in your journey with eliminating the poor habits and implementing more of your good habits. All right. So, some strategies about resilience and achievement. Importantly, these high performers use many combinations of internal and external reinforcers to create rapid positive feedback. In contrast, most people not only lack these strategies for creating immediate positive feedback for themselves, but they do the actual opposite. We all are guilty of that. People unintentionally create immediate negative feedback for themselves. Like people have a way to talk yourself. I have seen people who can talk themselves out of doing something good for them. They give you every single reason. I've been guilty. I used to do that until I met a pastor's wife years ago. And she said to me, Shanrae, she said, why don't you start practicing talking yourself into doing things the way you talk yourself out of doing things? And I stopped. That hit me hard. I was like, what? She said, she said, you can strongly talk yourself out of doing something. She said, why don't you start putting that same energy into talking yourself into doing something? And this is what Dr. Rutledge is talking about, how people unintentionally create immediate negative feedback for themselves through self-criticism and other negative self-talk when they're trying to form new habits. So this makes healthy habit formation nearly impossible. So those people that can brilliantly talk yourself out of doing something, give yourself a reason why you can't do it, start retraining your brain. Start talking yourself and giving yourself reasons why you should. And this is what Dr. Rutledge has his findings were about internal and external reinforcers. Okay, so let's move on to our takeaway because my time is up. It is up. I'm running 10 minutes behind right now. All right, let me move this along to my takeaway. Here we go. Let me open this up. Ooh, I got to put music in everything, don't I? I didn't even realize that music sound was there, guys. All right, so it says, but Dr. Rutledge says, good news. Good news. God probably is not punishing us. He's not punishing us. Instead, bad habits are easy and good habits are hard simply because of how they are reinforced. Again, the instant gratification. So when we can use the rules of reinforcement for us instead of against us, however, with practice, anyone can learn to incorporate sources of immediate reinforcement to form habits of success and improve their health, wealth, and quality of life. I remember I was speaking with somebody and I was saying to them, I was saying, right your wrong. Right your wrong. We're in a private consultation and the person was talking about whatever, and I just finally stopped and said it, because it helped them think. If you have to think about it that way, right your wrong. If there's a bad habit that you're doing and it causes negativity, if you have to tell yourself, I'm going to right my wrong, go back and make whatever wrong, make it right. And so that's one way to reinforce or to use that as a tool of reinforcement. If you know you didn't do something the best way that you should have, if you got to tell yourself, I need to right this wrong, then that's an excellent strategy to use. I'm going to right this wrong. All right, so let's move this along. This is my theory website. This is where I got my teachings from. Again, tonight, Dr. Rutledge, PhD, that's where I got his long-term teachings from. All right, so if there is a past Counsel of the Day with Shanrae series that you have missed or you just want to rewatch, you can go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. Please like, share, and subscribe, and then select any past series that you would like to watch. All of them are on my YouTube channel. All right, let's move this along because we're almost at the end. Okay, I'm a professional counselor, and I offer professional one-on-one counseling services. So if you're interested in professional one-on-one counseling services, feel free to contact me via my Facebook Messenger at Shanrae Price or via my email at shanrae@gmail.com. I'm a lifestyle strategist, and my aim is to aid you in your life's goals and your life's dreams. All right, I want to thank you. Let me open this up. Thank you for participating in Counsel of the Day with Shanrae tonight. And this is part 1. I will see you all tomorrow night for part 2 of Bad Habits Easy, Good Habits Hard. Tomorrow night. And then next Sunday and Monday is the final week 5 of this. And then I will see y'all in November. That will be my last Counsel of the Day for the year of 2022. Thank you, guys, for participating tonight. Have a wonderful evening. See you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time sharp for part 2 of Bad Habits Easy, Good Habits Hard. Good night.